So far, we've all seen and enjoyed DC flicks, but there are several DC films that we're all unfamiliar with, so here are the top 10 you might not know. Before we get further, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Alright, let's get to it. At number 10, Superman and the Mole Men from 1951. The first DC Comics theatrical release was a soft pilot for the TV series Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves as Man of Steel. The film, which was made in black and white, propelled Clark Kent and his Daily Planet regulars into the mainstream. Superman and the Mole Men wasn't the first time this Kryptonian hero appeared on the big screen, as he too was based on earlier serials starring Kirk Alyn in the blue suit that was released in parts just a few years before. Number 9, Batman, 1966. The film was the dynamic duo's first big screen adventure in nearly 2 decades, and it debuted between seasons 1 of 2 of the TV show in which it was adapted. Unlike the other parts, which were Columbia serials, this one stayed true to the characters and is still admired today for its deadpan, tongue-in-cheek humor as well as its amusing and vibrant style. It also produced 2 animated sequels, both of which starring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin respectively, and were released nearly half a century later. And number 8, Swamp Thing, 1982. This listing and its relative success may surprise you, as Swamp Thing is a DC Comics film adaptation from '82. Given Wes Craven's reputation for horror, his choice to direct this blockbuster undoubtedly raised eyebrows. Nonetheless, at the release of this cult classic, his foray into the Hollywood action scene positively accepted by critics and fans. Swamp Thing, which was exciting, humorous, and full of heart, spawned multiple spin-offs and sequels, giving it fresh life. Unfortunately, Craven did not return for the sequel, and the return of Swamp Thing is regarded as a poor follow-up. And number 7, Supergirl, 1984. With 3 Superman films already under their belts, the Warner Brothers decided to play it safe and branch out into similar stories. Despite being included in early treatment for his 1983 Superman 3, although his love interest for the Man of Steel rather than his cousin, Supergirl was purposely reserved for her film to be released the following year. Unfortunately, the film performed worse with a 9% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Bad reviews were attributed to the poor plot, mediocre villains, and dull action. Helen Slater's portrayal of Kara Zor-El was widely praised, though. Number 6, The Flash, 1990. The pilot episode of the original Flash TV series was released as a feature-length film. Warner Brothers felt that the pilot should be released with a direct-to-video feature to stimulate interest with their new IP. With a $6 million budget for a TV movie at the time, the series established the persona of Barry Allen into the mainstream. Ship, like Brandon Routh's Superman, would return to play the Flash on the CW over 3 decades later. And number 5, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, 1993. Batman Mask of the Phantasm was released between the first and second seasons of the show on which it's based. To suggest the film as a TV show tie-in would be an understatement. The full-length feature, which was released in theaters on Christmas Day 1993, is still regarded by fans as The Dark Knight's finest animated appearance, as well as one of the theatrical best. It was a critical success, even beating the previous year's Batman Returns in some quarters, although Warner Brothers did not turn a profit until years later. And number 4, Steel, 1997. On paper, the cinematic adaptation of John Henry Irons' hero Steel appeared to be a winner. The result was far from ideal. With most spectators unfamiliar with Steel, the film did little to establish him and veered even more from the source material. The film is cheesy. The picture bombed at the box office because there was no mention of Superman, and a live-action Steel would not be seen on screen for nearly a quarter century. And number 3, Gen 13, 1998. For decades, Warner Brothers had been involved in DC Comics films. No other studio can compete with it for picture-in-picture adaptations of DC-owned properties. Unfortunately, Jim Lee's Gen 13, a story about kids discovering their abilities, was lost when he sold the publisher Wildstorm to DC. At the same time, Disney was working on the film adaptation, and assuming that now DC would fall under the competitor Warner Bros. Slate, they pulled the film from release in the United States. It was distributed internationally, so fans didn't miss out on this authentic and one-of-a-kind film. At number 2, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, 2006. Richard Donner, the director of the first Superman film, had completed 75% of the sequel before leaving due to conflicts and arguments with producer Pierre Spengler. While director Richard Lester would finish the film, his director credit would necessitate costly reshoots, which Lex Luthor actor Gene Hackman would not return for. Fans petitioned Warner Bros. For years, despite the film's popularity in theaters. They got their response before the publication of Superman Returns, when Richard Donner returned to finish his take on the sequel, addressing several questionable narrative decisions and recreating the world he had created. And at number 1, Superman Returns, 2006. Superman Returns follows up on Kal-El's 5 years of absence from Earth, serving as a quasi-continuation of Richard Donner's first 2 Superman films while also discarding anything associated with 3 and 4. In terms of intentions for The Man of Steel, the Brandon Routh-led film was a hit or miss, and plans for sequels were cancelled. Having said that, while most people thought the premise was lacking, they praised the performance and their performances. Well guys, that's it for this one. What'd you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. If you're new to our channel, be sure to sub and ring that bell to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.